Good morning, everyone. I'm going to ask that everybody go ahead and try to get seated. We're going to start in a couple minutes. Good morning, Shadow. Go ahead and get seated. We're going to do a few security announcements. If everyone could take their seats. I'd like to first, yeah, Gary, you're looking at me like, you're not going to get them to sit down. First, I want to make a couple of emergency announcements. We have the emergency exits on both sides of the synagogue. To your right, of course, you go out to the lobby. Over here to the left, you have the Cantor patio. That also goes out through the side gates. Should there be any kind of medical emergency, we have a room, which is the multipurpose room, right near the bathrooms, right on the other side of the social hall. If you have any medical need at all, go ahead and go into that room. We've got it set up for that. Did anyone park in front of the CVS? Please do not park there. If you did, please move. You're going to get towed. We've already had one tow. So anyway, so please move from the CVS. The overflow parking at Kohl's is where you're supposed to park. And then the last but not least, before we do get seated, before we get started, if everyone could have a seat and turn off their cell phones, turn your ringers to stun. Just make sure that you've got it prepared. I know, everybody will get scared when they go off and everybody will jump at the same time. Anyway, please turn your cell phones off or to stun, and welcome. Good Shabbos, everyone.
We're so bad.
Can I help you?
Yes. Yes, everybody who can read is going to help. Okay? So. Hi, sweetie. What? We're going to start in a minute. I'm just looking for when we're supposed to hear the show. Where do we hear the show? Okay. I just want to make sure. Oh. No, that's not it. Well, we'll stick it in somewhere, okay? Yes. Yeah, for some reason it's just not in this group. Oh, so we're gonna, okay, so Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Chag Sameach. Happy New Year. Okay. Yay. I know that as we go on, there will be more and more kids coming in. So we'll just make sure that everybody has a pretty good time. And let me tell you, there are great things to do in the classroom when we're done. Great things. So you will have fun. Ava, is that you? Oh my gosh, she got so big. Ava, do you remember preschool? Do you remember that? Ava used to come here for preschool. Where's Max? There's Max. There he is, sitting all by himself. Max, you want to come sit up here with some of the other kids? No, you're okay? All right. Once again, I don't want to be the one to read the whole service. So hold on. So I have certain people who I know are going to help me with the singing, right? Because I do such a poor job with that. So I want this to be your service. But first, we have to all turn to page 32. 32, page 32. If somebody doesn't know which page is page 32, will you help your friends? Okay. Girls, right here. Anybody who wants to read a part in this first row right here, come on up. Come on up in this row right here if you want to read. Gotta come now. Go help her. Side of the head, okay? Use it?
Good morning, everyone.
Guys, we're going to try not to use the mic.
As we turn to our new mock store on page 168, I want to welcome not only everyone who is here, but those of you who are watching our services throughout the season on our web stream. We have touched lives in Israel, the East Coast, West Coast, wherever our members and our friends are, and it's a nice feeling. One of the things about this mock store, since it is our second year of introducing it to our congregation, is to remind you that it has more readings than any one service could possibly embrace. And therefore, you are welcome to follow the choir, the cantor, and the rabbi as we lead you through the service, but you are also encouraged to go on your own spiritual journey, to look at many of the reflections that we never touch and never read. They are for you to peruse at your own pace. And then as you find something that catches your eye, you can rest your eyes there and let it inspire you, and then catch up with us. And so we welcome you once again to the service. We ask that you take a moment just to turn to someone next to you, perhaps behind you don't know. Introduce yourselves, make some new friends. Very nice. We continue now with Ashrei on page 168. (172). From Egypt you redeemed us, Adonai our God, and from a world of slavery you saved us. In times of hunger you fed us. In times of plenty you nourished us. You turned our blight to blessing, spared us from suffering, and rescued us from the sword. Your mercy supports us, and your love abides, now as in the past. Never forsake us, Adonai our God, and never turn away. Holy One, infinite your power, radiant your glory, unbounded your might, awe-inspiring your works.
יושב על כיסא רום ונישא, שוכן עד מרום וקדוש שמו, וכתוב לנו צדיקים באדוני, לשרים נאוותי לו.
Eternally present, your name is hallowed on high, and the psalmist sang, Rejoice in Adonai, you righteous, let the upright adorn you with praise. We continue on 178 as we all rise for the Baruch Hu. Please be seated. (179) In this circle of community, in this hour of striving for faith, I believe in your majesty, your guiding presence within me. To you I turn on this day of the Spirit, seeking atonement, longing to hear your words. I forgive. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto, blessed is God's glorious majesty. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto. Together, Holy One of might, your towering strength reaches from heaven's heights to the human heart. Holy One of mercy, your forgiveness is profound. It embraces all who turn to you. Holy One of Torah, the secrets you impart are radiant. They reach your people, you cherished ones. Blessed is God's glorious majesty.
Holy One of the heart, you forgive us in our weakness. You pardon us in our fear. Holy One of strength, we praise your powers, the wonders of creation and redemption. Holy One of remembrance, you remember us with love, taking delight when we search our souls. Blessed is God's glorious majesty.
Holy One of the Spirit, you accept our fast of repentance and breathe into us purity and goodness. Holy One of conscience, you remove our wrongs and reveal the way of righteousness. Holy One of existence, your light is the glory of creation. Your mercy endures forever. Blessed is God's glorious majesty. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto. In this circle of community, in this hour of striving for faith, I believe in your majesty, your guiding presence within me. To you I turn on this day of the Spirit, seeking atonement, longing to hear your words. I forgive. In love you bring light to the earth and its creatures. Your goodness renews the creation each day. Infinite, varied, and rich are your works. Divine artist, all of them wrought with wisdom. The whole earth is teeming with life. Awestruck by the universe work of your hands, let all life bless you, praise you, and celebrate the beauty of your lights.
Or Chadash, al Zion ta'ir v'nizkech ulanu mehera le'oro. Baruch atah Adonai, yotzei ha'me'orot.
183. You love us by helping us grow. You give us Torah, a ladder for the soul, words that draw us upward. Every mitzvah, an invitation to climb. forge and kiln and crucible to purify our hearts. You give us Torah. You love us by helping us grow. We turn the page. 185, we read responsively. You are the one who unites all things, who links life to life in a sacred chain.
The force anchored in the soil, breathe air into our lungs.
Our faces are reflected in the creatures of earth. We carry the sea within us.
Our fate is connected to rivers and deserts, our family a many-branched tree of life.
All beings intertwined in you, all are encompassed in Adonai Echad.
Thus no man is an island, no soul exists apart.
To say Echad is to know this truth, to see the world whole, humankind undivided.
Precious and holy are these words we speak. Adonai Echad, we proclaim you one. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael be'ava.
Our praise to you, Adonai, for you have singled out your people Israel with love. Let us rise.
Shema.
Listen, Israel, Adonai is our God. Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Please be seated as we continue with the Ve'ahavta, page 188.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We continue in 191. Be mindful of all my mitzvot and do them. Thus will you become holy to your God. For I, Adonai, am your God, who brought you out of Egypt to be your God. I, Adonai, am your God. Adonai Elohechem emet. Adonai, your God, is true. True and steadfast is this teaching, beloved and treasured, a source of wonder, a fount of goodness, a thing of beauty, and ours for all time. And true it is, the eternal God is our sovereign, the rock of Jacob, our protecting shield. Through all generations, God's name lives on. God's throne stands firm. God's dominion prevails. God's grandeur and faithfulness endure through eternity. God's words are precious. They will live forever. 195. We read responsively. And they shall know that I, Adonai, am their God, who brought them out of the land of Egypt, that I might abide among them. I, Adonai, their God.
You took us out of the darkness, so that your light might dwell among us.
You showed us your power to bring down the powerful, uplift the enslaved, transform the social order.
You showed us your strength, so that we might remember our own.
We carry the Exodus vision wherever we go, lest we forget our sense of liberation, lest we lose the joy of breathing free, lest we grow indifferent and blind to others' pain.
So long as we work to make you present, we walk the path of freedom. But if we forget to bring you into this world, then we return to darkness. Please rise for the Amidah. Page 200.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah זוכרנו לחיים, לחפץ בחיים, וכותבנו בספר החיים. זוכרנו לחיים, לחפץ בחיים, וכותבנו בספר החיים. למענך, 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 אלוהים חיים. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני. מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידות מלך, מלך ממיט ומחיה ומצליח ישועה. מי כמוך אל הרחמים, זוכר, זוכר יצוריו לחיים ברחמים, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל.
Please be seated as we continue on page 208. Our sovereign God of pardon and forgiveness, let these words of sanctity ascend to you. Let us proclaim the power of this day, a day whose holiness awakens deepest awe and inspires highest praise for your dominion. For your throne is a throne of love, your reign is a reign of truth. In truth, you are judge and plaintiff, counselor and witness. You inscribe and seal, you record and recount, you remember all that we have forgotten. And when you open the book of memories, it speaks for itself. For every human hand leaves its mark, an imprint like no other. Page 210. And so a great shofar will cry, T'kiyah. A still small voice will be heard. Angels in a whirl of fear and trembling will say, Behold the day of judgment, for they too are judged. In your eyes even they are not blameless. All who would come into the world pass before you, like sheep before their shepherd, as a shepherd considers the flock when it passes beneath the staff. You count and consider every life. You set bounds, you decide destiny. You inscribe judgments.
Rosh Hashanah yikatevun, yikatevun, uvyom tzom Kippur yechatemun, yechatemun.
On Rosh Hashanah it is written, and on Yom Kippur it is sealed.
Berosh Hashanah yikatevun, yikatevun, uvyom tzom Kippur yechatemun, yechatemun.
How many shall pass on? How many shall come to be? Who shall live and who shall die? Who shall see ripe age and who shall not?
Kama yavorun, v'chama yibareyun. Mi yichyeh u'mi yamut, mi v'kitzor u'mi lo v'kitzor. Berosh Hashanah yikatevun, yikatevun, uvyom tzom Kippur yechatemun, yechatemun.
Who shall perish by fire and who by water? Who by sword and who by beasts? Who by hunger and who by thirst?
Mi va'esh u'mi va'magemayim, mi va'cherev u'mi va'chayam, mi va'ra'av u'mi va'tzama. Berosh Hashanah yikatevun, yikatevun, uvyom tzom Kippur yechatemun, yechatemun.
Who shall perish by earthquake and who by plague? Who by strangling and who by stoning? Who shall be secure and who shall be driven? Who shall be tranquil and who shall be troubled? Who shall be poor and who shall be rich? Who shall be humbled and who exalted?
Mi va'ra'av
repentance, prayer, and tzedakah temper judgment's severe decree. But repentance, prayer, and tzedakah temper judgment's severe decree. But repentance, prayer, and tzedakah temper judgment's severe decree. We rise for the Kedusha 218.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלך הארץ כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, מה אדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו, והוא ישמיענו ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. ימות אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה.
The eternal shall reign for all time, your God for all generations. Zion, hallelujah. We will teach your greatness, Lador Vador, from generation to generation and to the end of time. We will affirm your holiness, our God. Your praise shall ever be on our lips. For your power is boundless, sovereign, and holy. Amen. We continue on 226. Uvechen, and so in your holiness give the righteous the gift of a vision bright with joy, a world where evil has no voice, and the rule of malevolence fades like wisp of smoke. Good people everywhere will celebrate the stunning sight of arrogance gone from the earth. You and you alone, Adonai, will reign over creation upon Mount Zion, a home of your presence, and in Jerusalem, a city set apart by you. As the psalmist believed, the eternal shall reign for all time, your God for all generations. Zion, hallelujah.
Kadosh קדוש אתה ונורא שמך ואין אלוה ממולדתך ככתוב ויקבע אדוני צבאות במשפט והאל הקדוש נקדש בצדקה ברוך אתה המלך, המלך, המלך הקדוש.
Please be seated. We continue reading at our own individual pace, pages 230 through 246. We continue on page 252 with the Avinu Malkeinu. Call upon Adi and Bob Unger, Lisa and Mark Katz for the honor of accompanying the art curtains as they are open for Avinu Malkeinu. Page 252, would the congregation please rise? Avinu Malkeinu Shema Kolenu. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, hear our voice.
Avinu Malkeinu, chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you.
Avinu Malkeinu Chamol Aleinu V'al Aleinu V'tapenu. Together, Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and our families.
Avinu Malkeinu, kale dever v'chera v'ra'av me'aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, halt the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger. Avinu Malkeinu, kale kol tsar mastin me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror.
Avinu Malkeinu, kotvenu b'sefer chayim tovim.
Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names in the book of lives well lived. Avinu Malkeinu, chadesh aleinu shana tova. Avinu Malkeinu, renew us for a year of goodness.
Avinu Malkeinu, male yadenu mi berchotecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, let our hands overflow with your blessings. Avinu Malkeinu, harem keren mishichecha. Avinu Malkeinu, let our eyes behold the dawn of redemption.
Avinu Malkeinu, na'al tishivenu rekam milfanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, we pray.
Do not turn us away from you with nothing.
Avinu Malkeinu, kabel barachamim v'ratzon et tfilatenu. Avinu Malkeinu, welcome our prayer with love, accept and embrace it.
Avinu Malkeinu, aseh imanu lema'an shemecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits your name. Avinu Malkeinu, aseh laman chaim lo lamanenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake, if not ours. Avinu Malkeinu, ein lanu melech ela ata.
Avinu Malkeinu, you alone are our sovereign. Avinu Malkeinu, patach sha'arei shamayim l'tfilatenu. Avinu Malkeinu, let the gates of heaven be open to our prayer.
Avinu Malkeinu, shema kolenu, chus v'rachem aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu,
hear our voice, treat us with tender compassion.
Avinu Malkeinu, chanenu va'anenu, ki ein banu ma'asim, aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Avinu Malkeinu, chonenu v'aneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, chonenu v'aneinu, ki ein banu ma'asim. Aseh lanu tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh lanu tzedakah v'chesed ve'oshienu. Aseh lanu tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh lanu tzedakah v'chesed ve'oshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, chonenu v'aneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, chonenu v'aneinu, ki ein banu ma'asim.
As we turn to our Torah service, we call upon Norma Friedman and Brad Friedman, Andrea Harris, Arena and Andrew Molaski for the honor of undressing the Torah. If you would come up at this time. We continue on page 254. Let the reading of Torah be like prayer, a meditation to remind us what we strive for, a chant that binds us to the chain of generations. Let the reading of Torah be like prayer, a moment of purest solidarity with our people's hopes and history, an invitation to affirm or dissent, to challenge or believe, to ask why or say amen. Let the reading of Torah be like prayer, flowing like waters that renew the spirit, refreshing and sweet to nourish the soul. Let the reading of Torah be like prayer, every word a blessing, every verse a conversation with God.
Vein kamacha v'Elohim Adonai, vein kemasecha, malchutecha malchut kol amim, umemshatecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch le'am va'ed, Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'Chanun, El Rachum v'Chanun, Erech Apayim v'Rav Chesed ve'emet, Notzer Chesed l'alafim, Notzer Chesed l'alafim, Nose avon v'fesha v'chata v'nakeh. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'Chanun, Erech Apayim v'Rav Chesed ve'emet. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh v'nora Shemo, Gadlul Adonai iti, uneromema Shemo yachdav. Lecha Adonai hagidula, hagivura, v'atiferet, v'hanetzach v'hahod. Kichol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, kichol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz. Lecha Adonai,
Torah service is found on page 266 with the familiar reading about Tamid. You stand here this day, all of you, in the presence of Adonai, your God. The passages of Torah that we read are by tradition assigned to the holidays. The rabbis of old, looking through the entire Torah, deciding which passages would go with which services. This one, of course, talks about the collectiveness of the high holidays. It's not just about what I do, it is about what we do. Continually throughout Jewish history, Jewish theology, it is about the we, it is about the community. Even as we accept individual responsibility, we feel when God talks to us in terms of revelation, in terms of requiring responsibility, it is all about how we collectively stand before the Lord our God, a notion emphasized in this Torah portion from Deuteronomy. Lastly, this portion reminds us when we think, oh my goodness, there's so much to learn, I'll never do it, I give up. It says, Lo b'shamayim hi, it is not in heaven. These rules, these regulations are not meant for the high heaven and the angels and God. They are down here for us to learn, to do, and to embrace. And so we call upon our Torah readers for this morning and the Aliyot for the Torah. As we turn 266, Sandy and Scott Stolberg are our first readers, and Olympia Lazar, she is our first Aliyah to the Torah. Those of you who are in Niddy or are going to the Niddy service, it starts at 11:15. It's about 5 minutes or so after 11, give or take. So in 10 minutes, you would make your way into the Beit Tefillah. Page 266, here we go.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bakar Banu Mikol Hamim V'natan Lanu Et Torto Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem lifnei Adonai Elohechem Rashechem Shivtechem Ziknechem V'shodrechem Kol ish Yisrael Tapchem, Nishechem, V'gerecha, Asher, V'kerev Mahanecha, Mehotev, Etzecha, Ad Shoev Meimecha. V'chaye olam nata b'tokenu, Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah. Amen.
Our second Aliyah goes to Marla Letizia, our reader, and our reader is Deborah Cohen.
Baruch Adonai Hambarak Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bahar Banu Min Kol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Leil vracha bivrit Adonai Elohecha uvchalato Asher Adonai Elohecha koreit imcha hayom lema'an hakim otcha hayom lo le'am vehu yelecha lelotecha ka'asher diber lach v'ka'asher nispa lelotecha le'avraham le'itzhak hu Yaakov.
Asher natan lanu Torah emet b'chayei olam natav v'tohenu Baruch atah Adonai.
Noten HaTorah.
Our third Aliyah goes to Juanita and David Wasserman, and our readers are Nan and Ira Spector.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. V'lo etchem levadchem anachi koreit et habrit hazot ve'et ha'ala hazot ki et asher yeshno po imanu amed hayom lifnei Adonai Eloheinu ve'et asher einenu po imanu hayom.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Our fourth Aliyah goes to Lynn and Gary Cantor. Our readers are Shauna and Joshua Brody.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMavorach. Baruch Adonai HaMavorach Le'olam Voed. Baruch Atah Adonai HaMavorach Le'olam Voed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bacharbanu Mikol Ha'amin V'natan lanu et Torah. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Ve'afa ki yavo alecha kal hadvarim ha'ele havracha ve'achlala asher nantaiti lefanecha kol hadvarim ve'ashovata elevavecha Bechol hargoim asher yichacha Adonai Elohecha shama.
Vishata ad Adonai Elohecha Vishamata Hakolo Kechol Asher Anochi Mitzavacha Hayom Ata Uvanecha Vichol Levavcha Uvichol Nafshecha.
Amen. Our fifth Aliyah, Lexi and Sam Lionel, and our readers are Deanne Emmer and Randy McCosco.
Baruch atah Adonai Hamvarak Le'olam Vayeh. Le'olam Vayeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher b'charbanu mikol Amin. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen. Elohim Shudcha Verichamecha Veshav Vekibetzcha Mikol Ha'amim Asher Hevitzcha Adonai Elohecha Shama Im Yenedachacha Bikatzei HaShamayim Misham Yikebetzcha Adonai Elohecha Umisham Yikachecha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu et hamet v'chayei olam natan Eloheinu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
Page 274, we all rise. David.
Vizot HaTorah Asher Sam Moshe, Vizot HaTorah, Vizot HaTorah Asher Sam Moshe, Vizot HaTorah, Lifnei Bnei Yisrael, Vizot HaTorah, Al Pi Adonai Biad Moshe, Vizot HaTorah, Vizot HaTorah Asher Sam Moshe, Vizot HaTorah.
Fran Fine, Dina and Alan Mann, Julie and Eric Fisher, Gloria and Mark Fine, Lisa and Mark Tenner. Now we know how many Jews it takes to redress the Torah. Come on up.
Torah, 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 Tziva Manu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tziva Manu Moshe. Morashat Kehilot Yaakov, Morashat Kehilot Yaakov, Morashat Kehilot Yaakov, Torah Tziva Manu
A reminder to those in the Niddy service, you should be in the Beit Tefillah right now. We continue with the Haftorah blessings, page 275, Maxine Malinsky and Cheryl Chenin-Webb. And for the blessings afterward will be Cantor Hutchings and the Shabbatones, Eddie Birch, Tracy Birch, Dave Miller, Ira Spector, and Jay Poster. And the readings on page 277, 278, Cheryl Kranitz Dykes and Sharna and Stuart Blumenfeld. That whole group makes their way up here. Maxine, Cheryl, take it away.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar b'nviim tovim v'ratzav v'derem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai Haboher Batorah, Uv Moshe Avdo, Uv Yisrael Amo, Uv Invieh HaEmet V'Tzedek.
Cry from the depths, says God. Do not hold back. Lift up your voice like the shofar. Tell my people their transgressions and the house of Jacob their sin. Yes, they seek me daily, as though eager to learn my ways, as if they were a nation that does what is right and has not abandoned God's law. They ask of me the right ways, eager for God's nearness. They say, why did we fast? And you do not see it. Because even on your fast day, you think only of desire, while oppressing all who work for you. Because your fasting is filled with strife, and with callous fists you strike. No, your fasting day will not lift your voice before heaven. A day, is this the fast I desire? A day to afflict body and soul, bowing your head like a reed, covering yourself with sackcloth and ashes? Do you call this a fast, a day worthy of the favor of Adonai? Is not this the fast I desire? To break the bonds of injustice and remove the heavy yoke, to let the oppressed go free and release all those enslaved? Is it not to share your bread with the hungry and to take the homeless poor into your home, and never to neglect your own flesh and blood?
Then shall your light burst forth like the dawn, and your wounds shall quickly heal. Your righteous one leading the way before you, the presence of Adonai guarding you from behind. Then when you call, Adonai will answer, and when you cry, will respond, I am here. If you remove the chains of oppression, the menacing hand, the malicious word, if you offer your compassion to the hungry and satisfy the suffering, then shall your light shine through the darkness, and your night become bright as noon. Adonai will guide you always, shake your thirst in parched places, give strength to your bones. You shall be like a well-watered garden, an unfailing spring.
From you will they build ancient ruins, lay foundations for ages to come, and you shall be called the one who mends the breach and brings back the streets for dwelling. If you cease to trample Shabbat, stop pursuing your affairs on my holy day. If you call Shabbat a delight, the holy day of Adonai honored, and if your God If you honor God by not doing business or speaking of everyday matters, then shall you take pure delight in Adonai. I will lift up your journey on earth to the highest of places and nourish you from the heritage of your father Jacob. For thus spoke Adonai.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Sur kol haolamim Tzadik bechol hadorot Ha'el haneman Ha'omer ve'oseh Hamdaber u'mkayem Shekol devarav emet v'tzedek Ahat Torah Ve'al hamavodah, ve'al hamlim, ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, ve'al yom ha'kippurim hazeh, shenatata lanu, Adonai Eloheinu, likdusha v'limnucha, limnucha v'lishtila u'kabara, lechavod u'tifaret, ahakol, Adonai Eloheinu, Anachnu modim lav, umvarachim otak, yitbarach shimcha v'fikochai, tamid leolam va'ed, uvarchu met v'kayem la'ad, baruch atah Adonai, melech mochen, tzleach taverteinu, v'havonot amo beit Yisrael, umavir umashitenu bechol shana v'shana, melech hakol haaretz, mekadesh hashvat ve'Yisrael, melech hakol haaretz, mekadesh hashabat ve'Yisrael, vayom ha'kippurim.
As we return the Torah to the Ark, we turn to page 290. Deborah and Mitch Cohen, Amy and Ryan Crichton, Terry and Gary Rosenberg, and Brittany and Isaac Henn have the honor of accompanying the Ark curtains as we return the Torah to the Ark. Please rise.
Eitz chaim hi lamachazikim ba v'tomcheha me'oshar deracheha darchinoam v'chol netivotecha shalom ashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashu
We remain standing on 292. We stand in humility, conscious of our failings. Shema Kolenu, Adonai, hear our call. True sacrifice to God is a penitent spirit. You treasure a crushed and repentant heart. For you are close to the brokenhearted, and you give strength to a suffering soul.
You are the healer of shattered hearts. You are the one who binds up their wounds.
For thus says the high and exalted one who lives forever, whose name is holy.
I dwell in a high and holy place, but also with the downcast and lowly.
To bring new life to despondent souls, to restore and revive repentant hearts.
Return now, Israel, to Adonai your God, for you have fallen because of your sin.
Take words with you and return to God. Ask the Eternal, forgive what is wrong, accept what is good.
We stand in humility, conscious of our failings. We set before you the wrongs we have done.
We trust in your compassion, for you know who we are. Shema Kolenu Adonai, hear our call. (295), we continue.
Even rocks crack, I tell you, and not on account of age. For years they lie on their backs in the cold and the heat. So many years. It almost creates the impression of calm. They don't move so the cracks can hide. A kind of pride. Years pass over them as they wait. Whoever is going to shatter them hasn't come yet. And so the moss flourishes, the seaweed is cast about, the sea bursts out and slides back, and it seems the rocks are perfectly still, till a little seal comes to rub against them, comes and goes, and suddenly the stone has an open wound. I told you, when rocks crack, it happens by surprise, not to mention people.
Our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence, and when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong. $298. Our turning away from your mitzvot and laws of goodness is a hollow pursuit. You are just concerning all that happens in our lives. Your way is the way of truth, while ours leads to error. What can we say to you whose existence beyond time and space? What words of ours can reach your realm beyond the clouds, beyond heaven itself? Every hidden mystery, every revelation, surely you know them all. You know the secrets of the universe and the secrets of the human heart. You know and understand us, for you examine our inner lives. Nothing is concealed from you, nothing hidden from your sight. Eternal One, our God and God of our ancestors, we pray that this be your will. Forgive all our wrongs. Pardon us for every act of injustice. Help us atone for all our moral failures.
שחטאנו לפניך באונס וברצון, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך ביודעים ובלא יודעים.
307. Together, we confess our sins against the earth. We commit ourselves to saving it. We have assaulted our planet in countless ways. We have blamed others for the spiraling, deepening crisis. We have consumed thoughtlessly and irresponsibly. We have driven myriad species to the point of extinction. We have exhausted irreplaceable resources. We have failed to transcend borders and act unselfishly. We have given into you many appetites in our gluttony. We have harmed beyond repair the habitats of living beings. We have ignored the signs of change in our climate and our seasons. We have jeopardized the well-being of future generations. We have known the problem but left problem solving to others. We have lost sight of our role as God's partners in creation. We have mocked cynically those who love creatures great and small. We have neglected the environment, most of all in places of poverty. We have overpopulated our cities and overfished our oceans. We have polluted seashore and sky, fertile soil and freshwater springs. We have questioned and doubted solid evidence of danger. We have ravaged the old growth forests, ecosystems created over centuries. We have spewed poison into the bloodstream of our land, its rivers, lakes, and estuaries. We have transformed dazzling beauty into industrial ugliness. We have shared resources for personal gain and corporate profit. We have violated the commandment, do not destroy. We have wasted precious treasures, our God-given gifts. We have exploited the weakest and most vulnerable in our midst, and yet we yearn to be better guardians of this earth and the fullness thereof. Let us be zealous now to care for this unique corner of the cosmos, this planet, our sacred home. Please be seated. We continue at our own pace, reading pages 308 through 310. Necheshbon HaNefesh, a silent confessional. Good yontif, everyone. So what do hurricanes, the NFL, North Korea, healthcare, and Donald Trump all have in common? They're all subjects I'm not going to talk about this morning. I have to admit, I did write a sermon, more than one, touching on these subjects, but in the end, I felt that they were just too topical, and with a single tweet, the topic will change. All I can do is remind you, stand tall. Stand tall. Instead, I remind us why we are here, to gain something other than what we get on CNN or Fox News or MSNBC. We are here because there is something that brings us here. Maybe it's our parents or their memory. Maybe it is because our parents are aging, and out of respect, we're bringing them. Maybe we're bringing our children or our grandchildren. But whatever our reason, and there are many, we are here. And so I want to revisit the question we talked about on Rosh Hashanah morning, the question that I had you discuss about Jewish community and how we might bear the responsibility of not letting that light go out. I wish I was concise as all of you were on Rosh Hashanah morning, and perhaps when I'm done, you will wish the same. But here goes. I was ordained in June 1984, and my first pulpit was in Columbus, Ohio, as the assistant and then associate rabbi at Temple Israel in Columbus. And I remember as I began my career becoming very interested in projections of Jewish viability and the impact of intermarriage in Jewish demographics. One year, the big question was, who is a Jew? It's 1984. Who is a Jew? It was in response to Alexander Schindler, who was then head of the Reform movement, his decision to break with the other Jewish denominations and declare that whether a person's father or mother was Jewish, their children would in fact be raised under the presumption of being a Jew. Some predicted dire breakup with the organized Jewish community, that Reform Jews would become ostracized or Reform Judaism would become a disowned sect of Judaism. And this, of course, did not happen. And while who is a Jew remains a dicey question in Israel, and Reform and conservative Judaism both remain a bit ostracized in Israel, for the most part, around the world, we are Jews, and there is no question about that. And Reform Judaism is often the largest segment of practice in the community, as it is in Las Vegas and Henderson. So today, the question of who is a Jew takes second place to an even more pressing question. Why? Why be a Jew? Or put another way, why be Jewish? Those who are familiar with studies such as the Pew Report know that among young Jews today, Jews under 40, they, like their counterparts in other liberal religious traditions, Protestantism, Catholicism, for example, find that most would describe themselves as being part of the religion of none of the above. At first glance, we look at this as a new problem, but it really isn't. As long as there has been Judaism, there has been a struggle to retain Jewish identity and continuity. The Israelites were cautioned again and again for leaving the faith, for falling back on idol worship. Maimonides in the medieval period understood that many Jews were finding Judaism too hard to understand, their facility with Aramaic, with the Talmud and holy texts diminishing. He wrote the Guide for the Perplexed. Other guidebooks followed over time. And over the centuries, portions of the Jewish community were lost, such as the Jews of Spain, the Jews of Ethiopia, and many other segments of Judaism became lost remnants. But what is happening today is somehow different. In the past, Jews fled Judaism to have a better life. They changed their name, They abandoned their traditions so that they could work on Shabbat and earn a living. They shaved their beards to look more American, but the majority did not flee Judaism, they adapted. Reform Judaism itself is an adaptation started in the early 1800s by lay leaders in Germany, addressing the question of how to be both modern and Jewish. So what is different today? Today, no one needs to flee their religious faith in order to be accepted. Today, although there certainly is anti-Semitism and remains persistently virulent, being Jewish for the vast, vast majority of Jews in America does not create a barrier for employment or upward mobility. Jews can marry whomever they please, and the scenario in Gregory Peck's movie from the 1940s, Gentleman's Agreement, seems extremely anachronistic. To a teenager today, one would have to say, a long time ago, when your great-grandparents were alive, they were not allowed to ... But not today. Today we have greater freedom than ever before. And as I pointed out, Jews are not alone. Every religion has greater freedom than before. And so here comes the rub. With greater freedom has come greater assimilation. With greater assimilation has come a sharp rise in intermarriage. And with a sharp rise in intermarriage, coupled with young people having fewer children, has come a sharp rise in Jews who no longer practice Judaism. It is not that they would pick another religion. It is that they practice no religion. And that is what is different. That is what is troubling. Religious affiliation is no longer a social expectation in our society for the good citizen. Moreover, more and more view Jewish values on par with that of other religious traditions. And therefore, when couples intermarry, their vision is to have the children choose what they want to practice. And while any thinking person knows that it is impossible to fully educate people in an informed way about 2 or 3 religious traditions, what is possible is to expose children to elements of Jewish tradition that coexist alongside the traditions of other religious faiths. And that's what we have today. To put it as bluntly as possible, the post-Holocaust generation, which thankfully no longer needs to be concerned with genocide, appears to be existentially endangered by the threat of suicide. What could never be accomplished by the pogroms and persecutions of our enemies seems a reasonable peril to our survival by way of voluntary assimilation and self-chosen rejection of our heritage. Note the following ominous signs which have exponentially increased in just the past few decades since my ordination. While 56% of the general public say that religion is very important in their lives, the same is true for only 26% of American Jews. Entrusted by God with the task of serving as a light unto the nations, we Jews have tragically become doubly more secular than those amongst whom we live. 32% of Jews born after 1980, the so-called millennial generation, identify as Jews of no religion, compared to 19% of baby boomers and just 7% of Jews born before 1927. Overall, 22% of U.S. Jews describe themselves as having no religion, meaning they are much less connected to Jewish organizations and much less likely to be raising their children Jewish. A growing proportion of American Jews say that they are unlikely to raise their children Jewish or connect with Jewish institutions. The proportion of Jews who say they have no religion and are Jewish only on the basis of ancestry, ethnicity, or culture is growing rapidly, and 2/3 of them are not raising their children Jewish at all. And the study finds that intermarriage rates appear to have significantly increased over the past 50 years, nearly 60% of Jewish respondents who have been married since 2000 say they have a non-Jewish spouse. Just over 40% of those married in the 80s have a non-Jewish spouse. That number was 17% before 1970. So I could go on. Maybe you'd rather I talk about Korea and healthcare. Maybe they seem more solvable. Of all the findings in the report, what for me stuck the most agonizing chord was the one that focused on how respondents chose to list the factor that best exemplifies the meaning of being Jewish. 19% said it's observing Jewish law. 14% gastronomic Judaism, eating traditional foods. But coming in at more than twice the percentage of these, 42% having a good Jewish sense of humor. Is it really conceivable that almost half of contemporary American Jewry believes that Judaism has more to do with Seinfeld than Sinai? And can Jews find their moorings, their strength, and their reason for survival from their jokes rather than the inspiration found from their spiritual tradition? You know, when I began my career, the majority of rabbis did not officiate at intermarriage because they felt that it would encourage it, and they also did not want to compromise how they defined marriage in Jewish tradition. As time progressed, the Reform movement taught that while one was born under the presumption of being Jewish, if he or she did not follow exclusively Judaism, he was not considered a Jew. This too has changed. And so while intermarriage was once viewed as a threat to Jewish survival, it really no longer needs to be viewed this way. What is viewed as the greater challenge is not intermarriage, it's a lack of practice within the home. We have many, many intermarried families who practice Judaism in our congregation. It's the practice of Judaism that we embrace. In other words, you can have an interfaith marriage. If they raise that child with Jewish traditions and customs, Judaism will survive. But if you have two Jewish parents, they don't go to synagogue, they don't get involved in organized Jewish life, they pick the lever of none, we have no Jewish children. And that is what is now considered the biggest threat. Most institutions have divisions that address this issue. Jewish Nevada has Jewel, ADL has a Young People Associate Board, Congregation Ner Tamid has Next Gen, and for us, Next Gen has been a program that was a dream of mine 6 years ago and has been led every step of the way by the incredible Melissa Lemoyne, and we really, really want to thank her. She is going to be passing the baton very soon to a new leader of that group, but over that time she has found so many young people who have come together to celebrate holidays and holy days, to find soulmates, join our temple board, and to make CNT their home. And yet, as we all know, there are so many more who are not engaged, not in Las Vegas or Henderson or anywhere in any community. I was talking with a friend the other day. Her daughter was raised here and went to a conservative temple. Her daughter's now living in Texas. She married someone who's not Jewish. And I told her that there was some outstanding Jewish resources in Texas I could tell her about. She can find a synagogue where some young Jews go. And she looked at me with that shrug, that same shrug that I have given when people tell me what to do with my son or daughter, like I can do something. Well, Rabbi, she said to me, it really is up to my daughter. And of course, like everybody else, I couldn't help myself. I told her about this or that. I wanted to solve the problem. And I think by the end of the conversation, all I did was create a frustration between the both of us. One that could be labeled, I know, but I doubt my daughter will call. I don't think she'll be interested. She's not really expressed an interest in Jewish life. She's so busy at work. Her husband, he's really anti-religion. And the only thing they have done together was go to an Orthodox Seder that lasted 6 hours. And that did him in. Oy, Vezmir. Let me teach you about Judaism. I'm going right to the hardcore, 6 hours Seder. I might have become a priest. Well, though the conversation was about this person's daughter in Texas, it could have been about any millennium anywhere. Some are engaged, involved, and yet too many either don't feel the need or worse, don't see the need. So I wish I could snap my fingers and solve this one. But it was predicted, my friends, in the early 1980s. We knew about this problem. It's not like it snuck up on us because, well, we knew that demographically we would reach this point, and here we have. And so there is this challenge of how to get the young people connected. Ironically, one of the things that the Reform movement finally points to is Chabad, because Chabad has emerged to become one of the most successful models in outreach in the organized Jewish world. And they built it through basic outreach and Shabbat dinners. Perhaps we are gastronomic Jews at heart after all. Throw in a few old-time jokes and you got 50% or more touched upon right at that Shabbat dinner. For that matter, the model is not just for the next geners. In Las Vegas, the affiliation rate is about 8%. 8% of 70,000 Jews, do the math, not even 6,000 Jews who are involved in organized Jewish life. We're not just talking about millennials. We need people to be involved and active in their Judaism throughout their life, before they have kids, whether they have kids, after they have kids. Being Jewish is not just something that we encapsulate in a period of our life and we say we're done. It's part of our life journey, part of who we are. Ron Wolfson, who's kind of the guru writing about the revitalization of Jewish community life, says that what we need right now is relationships, not just passing acquaintances, but lifelong relationships that can develop within communities and that will lift us up and beyond our own individualism. Relationships based on listening to one another's needs and on shared experience. And through commitments to work side by side and to join together in prayer, relationships that require face-to-face encounters. The key, he says, to building community is social interaction, not social networks. Returning for a moment again to those millennials and beyond. Because young Jews today, and I assume tomorrow, view Judaism as transactional. If I were king, and I'm only a rabbi, but I would invite them to enter the synagogue to have a conversation as to what they feel it means to be a part of a community. Not to have a fixed due, a dues system, but to set with them their yearly obligation on what they feel it should be. Is it equal to their health club? Is it what they spend on doing their nails or their hair and makeup? What is it worth to them? I think for some of us, it's a scary question. But it has to be had, and it has to be had now, so that they understand their sense of responsibility, but we also develop a point of entry where they feel welcome, affordable, and a part of organized Jewish life. Every Jew has, in my opinion, a right to be a part of a synagogue. We had a wonderful program called Birthright. It said every Jew has a right to go to Israel. What about Birthright America? What if there were philanthropists in our midst? What if there were philanthropists in our midst who said, you know what? We're going to make it so that every Jew can afford to belong to a synagogue. It's one thing to send them off to Israel for this great 10-day experience, but what if someone had the vision to create a lifelong experience so that the conversation wasn't transactional about money, and we all know that it takes money to run any organization, but it was really about the relationship, something that, for whatever reason, that is the language these millennials and beyond understand. For too many Jews, they slept through religious school. They ran from Hebrew school after their bar and bat mitzvah, and they embraced the philosophy that as long as they are a good person, that is all that matters. And yep, being a good person does matter. It really matters a lot. But being a good person only means that you are not a criminal. In Judaism, being a good Jew means that you are actively understanding that you are part of a community, a culture, a people, a religion that has been around for over 3,000 years, and that this collective wisdom, the system of ethics, holidays, and holy days has created the most incredible civilization which has inspired the world. And to abandon this because of ignorance or laziness or apathy is to distance oneself from a tremendous source of meaning. Frustrating that so many choose to look to other religion or religious traditions. I'm Buddhist. Oh my God, if I had a Jew for every Jew boo, we would be full. I meditate. I'm spiritual. If it were true, that would be one thing, but it seems to be the fallback position. I meditate, I'm a Buddhist. It's as if to say that the knowledge gained from each of these practices is anathema to Judaism. But guess what? They're not. They're not. You can meditate, you can be spiritual, you could even practice the traditions of Buddhism and be a good Jew. You really can. And so here is where it gets personal, deeply personal. Remember when I said I was ordained in 1984 and the question was, who is a Jew? Well, by 1987, the organized Jewish community reframed that question. And the question that became all the rage has come home to roost. Will your grandchildren be Jewish? That was the question. And like many of you here, I don't know the answer. I know that my little granddaughter Genevieve will have a Jewish name, Shulamit. She will have a grandfather and a great-grandfather who were rabbis. But I also know that she will be a child who will be exposed to the diversity of faith traditions that are part of both her families. And so I see the wisdom of being less stringent than years ago and more welcoming than ever before, to remove barriers wherever possible without compromising our integrity as a religion. And I also know without the synagogue and the community we create here, we don't stand a chance. Over the years, I have seen and heard so many incredible stories. I converted a man who discovered that his family had been Jews in Turkey in the mid-17th century. They followed Shabbatai Tzvi when he was denounced as a false messiah, and the whole family converted to Islam. 400 years later, he proudly reclaimed his Judaism. I had a woman who came to me who discovered that her parents were Jewish. They had escaped the Nazis, and they sought to hide their Jewishness from their children because they wanted to shield them from anti-Semitism. When their daughter grew up, she came to me and she said, I just found out that I'm a Jew, but I know nothing about it. Teach me. I once met a young woman who, from the time she was a little girl, wanted to be Jewish. No one knew why. Eventually, as a teenager, they introduced her to Father McFadden. Father McFadden talked to her, tell her she should be a good Catholic. When they were done talking, he said, I'll see you at your Jewish wedding someday. And this little girl grew up and married a rabbi. In 1982, we were married. Father McFadden danced at our wedding. No one here, not even me, your rabbi, can give you the answer for why be Jewish. All I can say is that after nearly 35 years as a rabbi, each person must find the answer for themselves. Genetics is not enough. Anti-Semitism is not enough, nor is it healthy to embrace a religion simply because you are defying haters. To be relevant and to speak to us today, ours must fundamentally be a religion of joy, even more so than it is a religion of oi. And it is to that joy that we must expose our children and share it with our next generation and the generation thereafter and celebrate as a community, because being none means that somehow, in some ways, when we're none, our lives are diminished, our journey towards goodness made more difficult, and our role as God's chosen people abdicated. Why be Jewish? Because we model a spiritual peoplehood that values struggle and debate, that is not afraid to take God to task, that seeks to challenge the icons of the status quo, particularly as the prophets so eloquently taught us, the icons of the powerful and the privileged. Now, let me be clear, I'm not trying to argue that the Jewish people have a monopoly on the values of theological struggle and socio-political transformation. I don't believe for a second that Jewish tradition is any more noble in this respect than any other tradition. This is not about religious triumphalism. It's not why be Jewish because we did it first and we do it best. But I am suggesting that there is still great relevance in this spiritual model and method. If anyone, including Jews, find a similar form of meaning in other religions, go for it. I think we're well past the point where we want to encourage Judaism through superiority claims, by promoting survival for survival's sake, or, God forbid, for fear of anti-Semitism. The best way to ensure the future of Judaism, it seems to me, is to celebrate it in a meaningful and relevant way. All the rest to me seems to be a distraction, sometimes a harmful distraction. In this day and age, there is a rich and varied marketplace of spiritual traditions. But if you pardon the crass imagery, I believe by and large the organized Jewish community is doing a very poor job of marketing our product to our newest generation of Jews. In some ways, I think we're barking up the wrong tree trying to think up snappy answers to the question, why be Jewish? Maybe if we did a better job at creating a compelling form of 21st century Judaism, the very question itself would be superfluous. Now, there are some millennials here, and I wish I could take this sermon and just repeat it 1,000 times over, because of course the fear is that I'm speaking to the choir. But I know that there are some who are brought here, maybe a little against their will, And you have to rise up. You have to assume that mantle of responsibility and leadership and take your place and help not only frame the question, but most importantly, shape the answer. I've gone to all kinds of schooling. I've been a rabbi a long time. In the 80s, we saw the future, and the future is here. But even as it was predicted, it is not predictable. We need the next generation of leaders to stand tall and to take their place and to say, like Abraham of old said, Hineni, here I am. I'm proud to be a Jew, and I want to be Jewish. It may not look like what you did or my grandparents, but I want to embrace the values that deepen my life, give it meaning, and allow me to feel a part of a community that is bigger, so much bigger than I stand in this world alone. I am so proud of our congregation because in many ways, though we have our challenges like every congregation out there, we continue to be God wrestlers, B'nai Yisrael, in every best sense of the word. We observe and we celebrate our religious traditions with equal parts of reverence and irreverence. We study, we question, we debate, we challenge, and together we grow from the experience. We teach our children and our adults in a manner that gives them room to question their tradition, to struggle with it, and live it in the way that makes sense to them. And we continue to imagine and reimagine what that looks like. This year, we reinvigorated our high school program, and we call it simply The Tribe. I love that name. The cantor came up with the name, but don't let it go to her head. Because at its core, what do we want? We want our young people to feel a part of our community. That when they go off, they will not forget from whence they came and who they are. That they are part of this tribe we call Judaism. We're also a congregation that continually expands its ways to understand Tikkun Olam. You all know, because I've talked about it so much, my involvement in the interfaith community. I do that for a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons is as an expression of my Jewish values. Because we do not separate ourselves from the community, and that our voice and what we stand for and who we are must stand as tall and shoulder to shoulder with every religion that is represented in our community. And that when our voice is missing, there is a part of the conversation that is silent and hollow. And the only way to have our voices heard is to be there and to stand shoulder to shoulder. And that's what I do. And that's what I hope you do when I encourage you and invite you to these opportunities. And so let me leave you with this vision. The vision of a people who have over the centuries learned to build a nation without borders, a multi-ethnic nation suffused with the beauty of a myriad of cultures, a nation inspired by a religious tradition that constructs and reconstructs in every age and in every generation. At its heart, a nation committed to the struggle for meaning in our lives and justice in our world. And in the end, a nation that has nothing to fear and every opportunity to gain from the remarkable changes underway in the 21st century. This is the vision that inspires me as a rabbi, as a Jew, but most importantly, as a human being who considers all who struggle alongside me to be a member of that most important tribe, that of being a Jew. The rabbis of old once said, Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor. It is not incumbent upon us to complete the task, but neither is up to us to abandon it altogether. Ours is an eternal challenge, and perhaps it is in being challenged that we ultimately find our answer. After all, it worked for Jacob. Abraham might have been the first Jew, and he was so sure in God's presence. He talked with God. But by the third generation, times had changed. And to continue our religion, it took a God wrestler to save us. Jacob, the one who would be called Israel, the one who wrestled with the meaning of God. That is the one who determined and shaped our destiny. He is the one whose vision prevailed. And we are known forever as B'nai Yisrael. And so too, my friends, shall we prevail. So too shall we prevail. Good Jontif.
Many months ago, former CNT President Jackie Rosen, now Congresswoman, connected me with Phil Strauss, a photographer, artist, engineer, and a person who deeply cares about government oversight. Rabbi, turn off your mic.
What's that?
Always keep me on my toes. His creativity drew him to dip his toes in the composing pool and write a version of not only the most recognizable piece of Jewish music, but also what some would say is the most important heard all year, Kol Nidre, All My Vows. Strauss expressed a whole new version of this historic piece. Most composers rewrote it with familiar nusach, knowing cantors and synagogue musicians wouldn't utilize an unfamiliar tune. But Strauss is cutting edge and needed an equally cutting edge cantor to premiere the piece. Well, I wasn't throwing away Kol Nidre. I would be fired, I know that. But I still wanted to showcase its beauty on this, the most pinnacle day of our Jewish year. The piece truly captures how so many of us are feeling on this heavy and meaningful day. Its haunting melody and poignant text calls us to rise to our highest ideals of self. Let us use this new Kol Nidre, review, restart, and release, to open up our hearts. I'm joined by our section leaders and our director, Ben Rockoff, Corinne Hochman, Jade Lynn, Bill McCullough, Travis Lewis, and our friend Jeff Lebo. This is the first time this piece has ever been performed. Is that correct? All right.
I was not the best I could be. I did not do the best I could do. Perfect was stories. Turn errors into lessons. Smile gently at foolish efforts for perfection. In spite of knowing the best is impossible, I will do my best. Do my best.
Thank you. On behalf of the Temple Board and membership, I would like to thank our BEMA guests. First, Della Costa behind me, George Freed, who is our board secretary over here. We've got Don Ross, who is our executive vice president behind me. We've got David Cherry, he's one of our trustees, and Ann Johnson over here is one of our trustees. Thank you very much. Rabbi Axelrod and Cantor Hutchings, of course, thank you very much for a wonderful service, as usual. Our accompanist, Ricky Reinhardt, and the choir director, Ben Rockoff, of course, our adult choir. Everybody was wonderful again today. This is my last time I do announcements, so I get to thank everybody a double time, and for truly making our service special. Alex, thank you once again for sound with Sam, and then a big thank you for web streaming and video for Neil and for Lee. Neil Papish and Lee Posey. Once again, there is a thank you board out there with lots of names on it. Take a look at it, and please thank those that were very involved in making all of the High Holiday services a success. Now, we invite you to stay with us this afternoon, of course, and let me just kind of go over what we're doing. At 12:45, in just a few minutes, in the boardroom, there's going to be a CNT friendly visitor information meeting and some information there. You can also, at 12:45 in the Beit Tefillah, go see Brighton Beach Memoirs and see that movie. That's great. Nevadans for the Common Good will be at 1:15 in the conference room. And then there's a 20-minute meditation session in the music room right behind the Beit Tefillah at 2:30. Then the healing service is at 3, the afternoon service is at 4, Yisker is at 5, and then the Nila and Havdalah will follow that, and we'll finish up. Now, there's things after High Holidays, just in case we don't see you this afternoon. Wednesday is going to be our annual Sukkot potluck dinner. We're going to decorate the sukkah. We're going to have a short program, eat dinner at 6 p.m. The temple and school offices are closed on Thursday then for Sukkot. Then there is a Yisker and engraving dedication service on Thursday, October 12th at 7 p.m. That's going to be in the King David Memorial Garden out here. And the offices will be closed that day as well, but that's at 7 p.m. that night. And then Friday the 13th is Simchat Torah with the Shabbatones at 6:15. And then we're going to end the whole High Holiday season with the second Serenity Shabbat on October 27th at 7 p.m. So that'll conclude the whole season. And with that, may you have a very meaningful fast for the rest of the day, and good Yontif.
Those of you who are interested in Nevadans for the Common Good or our Friendly Visitors program, outside in the Marshall Courtyard, that side door will be open. And so you'll get to the conference room or the boardroom through a side door right in that courtyard at 12:45 and 1:15. 318 is our final song, Hayom Ta'amseinu. and we join together.
Hayom, 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 hayom. Hayom, hayom, hayom. Hayom, hayom, hayom. Hayom, hayom, Teomseinu. Amen. Hayom, hayom, hayom. Hayom,